So in this 4,300 meter shed, you have a restaurant at the entry, you have a massive Nike section, an Adidas section, a Puma section, an Ultra Football section. You have a soccer pitch as well.
Yep.
You have soccer where you can practice your kicks there as well. There's nothing you don't have.
No, and then we have customization down the back that people can see and see how it's done.
And employees are soccer players too.
Generally, most of them.
You used to do haircuts here at one point.
Yeah, we got kicked out from the barber shop just over there, unfortunately, but by the council because some well-meaning.
But you had a soccer player cutting hair.
Yeah.
Not very well, but nevertheless it was good because he was a soccer player.
He was all right. They cut my hair, did a good job, and didn't have much to work with, and he charged me a finder's fee. But apart from that, he was pretty good.
So anyone who's in soccer comes in here, and this is like the soccer Disneyland.
I don't think you can overstate the amazement of people that walk into this shop and go, "Wow!" At either shop, they just walk in. They just walk in. They go.
I still can't get over it. Can this experience be converted online?
Well, I think my experience with online business when we first opened up, because of the delays we had with Sydney City Council, which had a huge effect on our profitability because we weren't, we were 18 months waiting for a permit. We were online, and we got some really good online people working for us, some really good e-com guys, and we were getting letters week after week saying, "Are you legitimate?" And I think that's one of the things I learned from online, that having bricks and mortar, the consumer seems to be frightened naturally because of the scams going around, and seeing bricks and mortar alongside an online business to me is an advantage. Unless you're an Iconic or something like that, which have developed a long reputation, or a Kogan, I guess. But,
so your store and your internet, your bricks and mortar store and your online basically trade as one big brand?
Exactly, and as a consequence, we often get people coming in, say, from Perth, who've been customers of ours for a long time. We don't. Online. And the first thing they do is visit here when they get here. Or they visit, Sydney's fantastic. It's only 3-4 k's from the airport, so they
this is a tourist attraction for any soccer fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I know FIFA will be going back and saying, because they've told us that they reckon it's the best store in the world.
So has Nike been here?
Oh yeah. I mean,
what do they think of the store?
Well, I'll put it to you this way, and we've had a lot of grabs from Nike people. I can show you a magazine where we took all the grabs from certain people who may not want to be quoted, but no one's seen any better, and there's no doubt about that. So at the moment, we argue that we've got the title best in the world.
Titled by Nike to have the best soccer store in the world.
Yeah, we believe that they believe it.
That's a big accomplishment. Congratulations. That's not something that comes easily.
But we also know that'll change. We know people are going to copy us. We know we've got.
Well, after this video, a lot of people are going to copy it.
Well, you've got to look at what Nike's been doing and Adidas are doing for us in the Sydney store. They've just spent a lot of money, as we have in. It's a partnership, revamping the store. And it's only 5 years old, and we're talking serious.
So they're investing in your business.
I think we're an extension of their marketing arm. I believe that we give them an opportunity to present their brand, and we're called by Nike. We're called an authenticator. Adidas love working with us as well. Both brands use our facilities.
Wow!
And it's true. It's fantastic. They love our product in here.
So you've accomplished the soccer, and you've created the world's best soccer stores.
We believe
quoted by Nike.
It's subjective, but we think
I agree with them. What's next?
Well, I think we're now doing a bit of a replication. We've now launched Nike basketball grassroots here in Australia. We had it going for now for about 18 months, I think, and it's got momentum. So now we think we're ready now to replicate what we've done here. But I think
so instead of a soccer pitch, it'll be a basketball court and everything basketball.
It's got to be more than one court. I think what we have to do with basketball is even much better than this. I think basketball's. Look, I'm not au fait with the code. I was height challenged as a kid, so I never played it, and as you probably were too. And
me?
Yeah, you didn't play basketball, did you?
I'm an excellent basketball player.
What are you?
Look at me.
Miracles never cease to amaze me.
I'm a basketball player.
Naturally born basketball player. Anyway, so for me, I'm on a fast track learning about the code.
Don't you have ESPN?
Well, it's funny.
Watch TV.
Yeah, I watch like the next guy, but I mean, it's funny. But I'm enjoying it. It's fantastic.
It's very fast.
Yeah. There's there's a street competitions that I go to, like Summer Jam and so forth. I watch them play that, and that's where you got to draw blood to get a foul. I mean, it's, in my view, it's rough. I never thought basketball was rough. Not that I want rough sports, but it's
a
great.
real sport.
Yeah, it's a real sport.
Absolutely.
But I think our retail execution has to be far better than this. We know that.
So what are you envisioning for the basketball version of Ultra Football?
Probably a 5,000 square metre shop minimum.
Wow. Would it be at a destination like Alexandria or Abbotsford?
There's 3 sites, or 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 sites. We've got jostling at the moment.
In Victoria?
Yeah, and I'm just thinking of all 4. Only one would be a pure destination store. The others, I think, are in good locations.
Could this work in the CBD?
Depending on the rent.
Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do. I couldn't see it in Burke Street Mall. I think the retail aspect would work brilliantly in the CBD. In fact, I've spoken to the brands about it, and they would see it from a retail perspective as second to none. And I know we discussed this, but the fear is the grassroots version of it, bringing in whole clubs into the store, because that's what we do here. We bring the football clubs in here for an experience, and we give them access to the whole facility. We want to do similar things in basketball. There's some big clubs out there, and we want to partner with them.
So you want them to train and just hang out?
Oh no, they come in. They might have
there?
events here, launches. They might have try-on days for the outfit for their kits and so forth. There's lots of things you can do with clubs.
I couldn't think of a more central location than the CBD.
I think we discussed parking, and it's the.
We'll get to that.
They can come in on bikes, can't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, bikes they can ride in.
Ubers.
I don't know if a bike from Narry Warren will get them there very quickly, but.
So, that's what the future is for your business. Is pivoting into basketball.
And this one, and we.
What's the basketball one going to be called?
We haven't got the name yet. We're running under the name Sixth Man at the moment, but it's causing a bit of grief with various entities.
Right, Sixth Man as in the competition. Sixth Man.
Do you know what the Sixth Man is?
It's the competition, or it's the Sixth Man on the bench.
On the bench, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's quite inclusive, and
yeah, but some people who believe that it's got to be excellence think the Sixth Man wasn't a really good player, whereas I believe the Sixth Man had to be he had
a team player.
He had to come and take any position. So
yeah.
But I have been told.
Ego.
No, that's right. And the other thing, it might be gender centric. The NBA, they have 6-man titles for women and men.
Yeah. So the NBA use it for the women's league too.
They have the best 6-man in the women's event, and the best 6-man. They don't worry about it, but I have certain councils have pointed it out to us. So we've got other names. We've got a plethora of names we're looking at, and we've got to make that decision soon, because we're going too deep with 6-man. We'll start to undo the goodwill we're building. So we have to make that call.
Well, hopefully by the time this video is released, you would have had a decision made.
I think so, yes. I think we will.
Good. In your view, and you've had a 40-year experience in retail, where is it heading? There's a lot of noise around retail. There's a lot of negative sentiment in the media that retail is dead and stores are dead. It's all online. Yet you built a 4,000 meter store in Abbotsford with absolutely no retail foot traffic, and you're trading well. And a lot of individual retailers are reporting good numbers, but as a market, it's kind of seemingly negative.
It's negative. I think look, I'm old enough to have experienced 3 recessions. I know what they're like, and I think we're in one at the moment. We're not geniuses. We don't claim to be, but I would never have approached this with 140 square metres at Chadstone, which was the typical store back in the day when I was around East Coast. If you looked for 140 square metres at Chadstone, you made it work. You had a model, you rolled it out. I think when a consumer's got a choice of, let's say, buying football boots, if all they want is to buy a boot and nothing else, they might as well just do it online. Why make the trip? But if they're going to enjoy themselves, they need to come to an experience. And I think everyone's talking about that. Everyone talks about making their locations an experience for the consumer, but very few people have the courage or the stupidity, fine line between courage and stupidity, I've always thought, but very few people have the courage to do what we've done. And that's why, in fact, I've been told by numerous retail buddies that you're nuts, and I get that. But we also had that supported by our teamwear, and we knew that was the point of difference, that we would be talking to various football clubs anyway, which would give us a, I don't know, a foot in the door. And but I think if Dad's buying a pair of boots for his son, and the son, he knows his Nike, he knows his Adidas size, he knows what it is, he likes the colours. There's not much science to it, but let's go down to Ultra and have a good time. And then they have the choice with all the brands here. They might move away from Nike to the new Adi one. Who knows? In fact, we've just made a big change to the city on that basis, that we had a giant divide between the two brands. We've pulled that out now. So the brands are together face to face.
And they're okay with that too, the brands?
They wanted it.
Right.
And we suggested it and they said yes.
So if you're not giving the customer a reason or an experience to come into, it's just quicker and cheaper to buy it online.
Yeah, why not? That's what people are doing. I mean,
so it's all about creating the experience.
Half of Nike's business is now online.
Right, half.
So they say.
Wow.
I wasn't given that information confidentially. It's just that was their intention to achieve, and they have achieved it.
Wow. So if you're not doing something different in your store, then you need to have relevance.
Correct. And both Nike and Adi are looking at their customer base and saying, if you're not giving an experience, I think they're saying, well, maybe you don't need our brand. You know, I'm not going to speak on behalf of those two companies, but I have noted a lot of brands have lost access to those two. Sorry, a lot of customers have lost access to those two brands because they're just not offering enough.
Retail customers, like wholesale customers.
No, the ability to buy the product from Nike or the ability to buy the product from Adidas is happening because they're putting an emphasis on experience.
With all your years of experience, if someone was going into business now in retail or around retail, what would your advice be to them?
This has not been taught to me by anyone else, but I think life. I always think you have to have a comparative advantage. You need to be able to identify what is your advantage before you go into anything. If you don't have an advantage, and that you might need more than one too, but if you can't see an advantage in what you're doing, then I'd be very hesitant to say go ahead and do it. We knew our advantage was our passion, our ability to find these two locations. When I say ability, that's not ability, some of that's luck. But having two great iconic locations is fantastic. And I think the fact that we're very heavily invested in teamwear, both Adi and Nike, and that's a huge advantage. So if you want to replicate this store in Australia, you wouldn't have the Adidas Nike teamwear brand in there.
And that's what drives all the...
It helps. It helps enormously. And also it gives us our credibility too, because we talk to the clubs all the time. We are, you know, people talk it, but we do have good relationships. And not so good, but we have mainly good.